Now, Phil Alexander invites you round to his flat for some music and chat, bringing together two celebrity guests to discuss the state of pop, past and present. Opt in, crashed out.
And you're watching Popped In Crashed Out, the music show that raises its personally engraved pewter tankard to the noble art of talking cobblers about all manner of music-related trivia in the company of two celebrity guests. On tonight's show, the Prodigy name their poison, and we find the talking heads arson around, which is actually a thinly veiled excuse for a bad joke about burning down houses. And joining us on tonight's show is Vinnie Cavanagh, vocalist with Anathema. During the past 9 years, Anathema have produced 4 albums, soaked in influences as diverse as Pink Floyd, Metallica and Radiohead. Their 5th rather splendid effort, Judgment, is out on the 21st of June. Joining Vinnie is Tim Briffa from My Drug Hell. An avid anti-CD campaigner, Tim's brand of 60s influenced jangle pop recently found favour with a beer company who used My Drug Hell's Girl at the Bus Stop as the soundtrack to a TV commercial. Not bad for a track recorded for the cost of a fiver. Right, Vinnie, Tim, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. Vinnie, we'll start with you. I mean, Judgment, your new album's out very shortly.
Yeah.
And in the light of that, you've kind of been described as a sort of hard rock's answer to sort of Pink Floyd. Is that a bit of a sort of compliment, or is that a downright insult?
It's definitely a compliment, isn't it?
Right.
Pink Floyd, one of the best bands that's been in the last 30 years or what, you know. Because they are to me anyway, so it's a compliment, but I really, you know, sometimes influence happens as an inspiration. It's not a direct influence, you know. I mean, I listen to stuff like the Beatles and everything from like Tom Waits to all sorts of stuff, and you can't hear that in our music, you know, so it's just, you don't always hear influence, you know.
Yeah, right, I mean, but you come from a big music city. I mean, Liverpool is a
That's right,
big music city. I mean,
you are encouraged, you know, because I think it's mainly like the parents of all the people who grew up around that time. They're so much into music that you're encouraged, you know, there's a lively thing for music there, so that's cool.
Yeah, well, on a less serious note, I mean, you've been out playing in Europe recently. I mean, a lot of people like you over there, it would seem.
Yeah.
And you're a big fan of German service stations, I gather.
Yeah.
For one specific reason, and that is that you're a rather light-fingered individual. Well, I actually heard that you walked into a service station one time with massive rucksacks on your back that were empty when you walked in, but full when you left.
You lose all we call them shitters, basically. It's a local currency, the shitters.
Right.
And you lose all them, you haven't got a clue what's happened to them. You go into a service station, you're hungry, it's like 4 in the morning or whatever, and the whole bus just piles into this place, and you pile back onto the bus. And then everybody sits around in the lounge, you know, you're all sat around the table waiting for the first person to get something out. Next thing you know, a big baguette will come out of someone's pants.
Is that you know it, or is that?
Well, that's this sort of this Saxon thing, you know.
Yeah, Saxon, the band, of course.
Yeah, we just keep them down there for like when we go on stage and that, you know.
Excellent. Okay, Tim, we'll move on to you. Enough of his nonsense, quite frankly. You're quite a sort of lo-fi kind of guy, from what I can gather, you know. But you really do seem to hate sort of CDs, don't you? I mean, that's one of your sort of...
It's not what I call lo-fi that I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of hi-fi.
Right.
CDs are like vinyl, but with loads of stuff removed. So I'm into
like the artwork?
Yeah, the artwork. Yeah.
For starters, yeah.
Yeah, and about half of the sound, the kind of the upper frequencies and bits in between are all taken out and sold to us as if they were kind of like some kind of improvement.
I would like to say as well that you recorded this girl at the bus stop for less than a fiver, it would seem. I mean, is that really possible in 1999 that people can spend that little amount of money on recording a track? I mean, it seems remarkable, really.
Yeah, and I was always told that you couldn't. Yeah. That you couldn't do anything on 4-track anymore. And it's like, well, all the kind of stuff that's being sampled now, most of it was done on 4-track or 8-track. So it's kind of like, no, I don't buy that argument.
Can you manage a night out for a fiver then?
Yeah, easily, actually.
What, get everyone else to buy the drinks? Is that what you're saying?
Nick others, yeah.
Nick
it all.
Yeah. Some light-fingered individuals on the couch here this evening, it has to be said. I don't want you nicking anything from here, all right? Shall we move on? It's time now for us to do the time warp. This is where we look at some videos from 4, 8 and 12 years ago. Gentlemen, watch this. I got the...
Well, it's a bruising, shattering not deny myself this luxury. He's a rider. He's a rider inside of you. The tricks they drag. Put my money in the bag. They cut, they crack, they offer drugs. We don't do drugs. Do you get off? Meaning? Point that's the beat. I'm on your case, I'm in your face, kick you in your motherfucking face. Motherfucker, understand? Don't you know that? I'm the man.
The Prodigy there with Poison from 1995. Mr. Man is a fish himself, of course, Julian Cope with East Easy Rider from 91. And all the way back from 1987, that was the pint-sized Anthrax there with I'm the Man. So, Vinnie, a fan of Anthrax, were you? I noticed that you were actually singing the lyrics to that song.
Definitely, yeah.
At the time, back in 87, were you sort of into the ludicrous shorts and the baseball caps and all that kind of nonsense?
Yeah, we were well into that. But mind you, at the time we were only about like 14, 15 years old ourselves, so it would be like, you know, short on in the summer with a big ghetto blaster with all your best thrash on, a couple of cans and all that. And next to it would be somersaulting off sand dunes up by Ainsdale and Formby, up north of Liverpool. There's like a few beaches up there.
OK, we'll move on to an Anthrax question for you in that case.
Go on,
Who
then.
was considered to be the original vocalist in Anthrax before Joey Belladonna?
Neil Turbin.
Oh, no hesitation whatsoever, and absolutely right, Neil Turbin.
Surprised myself there, actually.
I can tell you, though, before Neil Turbin, Anthrax had two temporary singers, Matt Fallon and John Donnelly. So there you go, something for the anal train spotters at home there. So in 1985, Anthrax recorded a 5-track mini-album called Armed and Dangerous, which featured a Sex Pistols cover. Can you tell me what that Sex Pistols cover was? Hey?
God Save the Queen, was it?
Honestly, he was a big Anthrax fan, wasn't he?
Oh, shut up.
It was God Save the Queen. Incidentally, Anthrax at the moment are in a state of limbo, rather sadly. They're sort of renegotiating a deal with a record label as we speak, so hopefully that will be resolved. But singer John Bush has actually opened a new club in LA called the Black Lodge Club. If you're in LA, go and check it out. It's apparently rather good. So there we go. Anyway, Tim, we move on to you and Julian Cope. Bit of a Copey fan, are you at all, or is he a bit sort of...
No, I think he's a jerk, actually.
A bit of a jerk?
Yeah.
So what you mean?
I don't like that whole sort of, you know, I'm mad me, you know. You know. I like Sid Barrett much more, and you can see that he wants to be Sid Barrett so badly, and it's kind of like... Sid Barrett was always trying to be sane, you know, he wasn't. You know what I mean? I mean, he was just genuinely nuts, and the real insane people in the world, I think, generally go around in suits trying to be kind of as ordinary as possible.
Yeah.
So.
That's quite a concept, isn't it? That, you know? So everyone that works in the city, of course, is mental, right?
Well,
yeah.
Marvellous.
That's not bad, yeah.
OK, well, I'll ask you a couple of questions about the man that you referred to as a jerk there. Julian Cope, can you name the 1991 album from which East Easy Rider was actually taken?
I have no clue. I only know Fried. That's the only one I've heard of.
Right. Well, it wasn't Fried, it was Peggy's Suicide, so there you go.
Yeah, I know that one too.
Right. OK, in a magazine interview in 1993, which famous rock star did Julian Cope say he would kill if he thought he could get away with it?
Courtney Love?
No, shall I give you a clue? I'll give you a clue. Courtney Love would have been a very good answer, actually, but I'll give you a clue anyway. It's either Bono or Bruce Springsteen.
It's a pretty good clue, that, Phil.
It is a clue, yeah.
It's 50-50, isn't it?
It's a 50-50.
Bono.
Well, it was Bono, yes, yeah. So, there you go. Off the starting blocks there, well played. Vinnie, the Proj. 1997, they released an album called Fat of the Land, and it featured a track called Fuel My Fire, which was a cover version.
Did it?
Yeah, Fuel My Fire. Who was the original by? It was either Luscious Jackson or L7.
I haven't got a clue, mate.
No, it was L7, and it came from their Hungry for Stink album. All the groans of pleasure.
Oh.
Tim, your Proj question, something that you may know. What was the name of the controversial third single from the Fat of the Land album?
Smack My Bitch Up.
It was. It was. What I love about that, Tim, you're ashamed to know that, aren't you? That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so you should be ashamed to know that. Anyway, moving on. Imagine there was a legitimate connection between Britney Spears and Britney Fox, or even worse, Black Sabbath and Blackstreet. Strangely enough, though, there are bizarre connections between the most uncanniest of artists. We're going to show you two videos each that have been brought together purely because there is a connection between the two. So, we start with you, I believe, Vinnie. Will you watch this and try and work out what in the Lord's name connects Mars and Transvision Vamp? There you go.
Oh, bloody hell.
Pop up the volume. Pop up the volume.
You don't have to say you love me, and you don't have to say any prayers. No, you don't have to say you love me,
Mars there with Pump Up the Volume, and of course Transvision Vamp with Baby I Don't Care. So, Vinnie, there is a connection between the two, and I can see that you're quite mystified as to what that connection might be.
The only thing I can think of is one of them shagging hair or something.
One from Mars was
Yeah.
shagging. I think that's a very good effort. I think you should have a bonus point for that random.
Thanks very much.
Although, of course, it is not actually the correct answer.
Yeah.
There's a band that connects these two
A band,
artists.
yeah.
And it's either Reef or Bush.
It's got to be Bush, hasn't it, looking at hair?
Well, it is in fact Bush, so yes, very well played. But I'll tell you what the connection is between Mars and Transvision Vamp involving Bush. It is the fact that Bush manager, Dave Durrell, was actually in Mars. Dave Parsons, the bass player in Transvision Vamp, is now in Bush. So it's a bizarre sort of, well, cyclical, circular kind of number there.
I'll
So there you
sleep
go.
easy
Quite
knowing that
confusing,
tonight.
quite
Nice one,
confusing,
yeah.
and obviously something you should have known. There you go. Anyway, Tim, we'll move on to you. Time for you to check out the connection between the Happy Mondays, don't look so alarmed, and the Talking Heads. Here we go.
Gallery, no smoking, chill, yeah, remote control, Channel X.
The Happy Mondays there with their loose approximation of the Thin Lizzy track, The Boys Are Back in Town, and of course the Talking Heads with Burning Down the House. So, Tim, any idea what connects the two there?
No. Producers?
a lengthy-
Something to the producer?
Oh, well, we'll come on to that later, but I'll give you a clue then. What connects the two is either the fact that David Byrne from the Talking Heads did vocals on a track from the Mondays' 1988 album Bummed, or that the Heads, Chris Frantz and Tina Weymouth, produced the Happy Mondays' 1992 album Yes Please.
I'll take B.
The producer thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. There you go. At the halfway stage, I can tell you, with the loose scoring mechanism that we have here, that actually, Tim, you are in the lead. But just by a chin, shall we say. There you go. Right, now it's time for us to take a beer break here, and time for you lot at home to watch a video nasty. This cheesemongous bargain basement offering comes from Europe. It's the final countdown. It reached #1 for no apparent reason in 1986. We'll leave you with a little trivia teaser for you to contemplate during the adverts. We'd like to know, what nationality are Europe? Are they Danish or Swedish? Answer after the break. We'll see you there.
It's the final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown.
Welcome back to Popped In Crashed Out. We left you with a question before the break. We wanted to know, what nationality are Europe? They are, of course, Swedish. In case you've forgotten, or you're just a bit worse for wear, my two guests this evening are Vinnie Cavanagh from Anathema and, of course, Tim Briffa from My Drug Hell. Very good value, the pair of them. Now, folks, as you may have noticed, there are some household objects gathering dust here. Amazingly enough, when three of these are combined, they actually provide you with clues to an artist or a band name. We're going to give you 3 clues each, and we want to know the artist or the band in question. It's very, very simple, and we start with you. Vinnie, here are your objects: a calendar depicting the month of May, a map of Windsor, and a Freddy Krueger mask with a thermometer in his mouth. So there you go. That's very good. And for you, Tim, you get an underground sign. This is a photocopy of the Berlin Wall, because we couldn't actually find a picture. It's a Berlin Wall there, a photocopy of the Berlin Wall, which of course came tumbling down eventually. And this is a piece of wood with a bit of sort of, well, tiger-like fabric, which may denote some kind of wildness to it. So, any ideas what these random clues are about?
Well, Windsor and this is something to do with the Queen Mother's new band.
The Queen Mother's new band.
I can recognise the teeth there.
Right.
That's about it.
The gin blossoms, perhaps.
Yeah, that is about it, actually.
No?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
No idea.
Shall I give you a few clues?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll just have to read them off here because I can't remember what they are. No, the Freddy Krueger there, I would maybe take the first part of his name and contemplate what's actually in the thermometer.
Oh, bloody hell.
It's a brilliant bit of hamming up there. Excellent. Would you like some
I mean,
cheese
do
with that,
you want
sir?
to just spell it out for me, or do you want to give me a clue? You know, it's Freddie Mercury then, yeah. Something to
Well,
do with that.
that's not the actual band name that we're looking for. But,
Welcome to Queen, yes.
Oh, okay. Tim, any ideas as to what your clues allude to? Obviously, it is somebody completely different.
I think it might be Paul Weller, yeah.
Oh, well. I'll ask you to qualify why that might be then.
That's Going Underground.
Ah, it's by the Jam.
And that's Walls Come Tumbling Down by the Style Council.
What an absolutely rubbish record that was.
And what's it again? Wildwood solo album.
Yeah. Well, shall we see if you're both right? Shall we actually see whether Queen and Paul Weller are the people we were looking for?
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, Magnifico! I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity.
Now there's no justice. You've only yourself that you can trust in. And I say,
That was Queen there with Bohemian Rhapsody and Paul Weller with Wildwood. OK, now we're going to show you two brand new videos, folks. We're not going to ask you any questions about them. We're just going to ask you for your considered opinion on them. We start with Aerosmith and their re-release of Pink. This is to coincide with the Toxic Twin Tower Ball, which is being held on June the 26th at Wembley Stadium. OK, folks, here's Aerosmith with Pink, which I believe is out now.
pink, it's the color of passion. 'Cause today, it just goes with the fashion. Pink, it was love at first sight. Yeah, pink, when I turn out the light. And pink gets me high as a kite. And I think everything is going to be alright, no matter what we do tonight.
Aerosmith there with Pink. So, folks, what do you reckon to Aerosmith? Are they still...
I've got a lot of time for Aerosmith, actually, but this song, I mean, it's nice and catchy and all that, but it's nothing really special, is it? You know, it's nothing as good as, like, some of the other stuff he's done, so...
Tim, are you an Aerosmith fan in any shape, way or form?
No.
No, not at all. No. So they've always been rubbish in
I
that
like
case.
the story that was in Q a little while ago about them. Do you know the one about them always ending
I don't.
their set with one song, and then one day they're on tour, and then one day they began the set with that one song.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And at the end of that song, he comes on and goes, "Thank you, you've been a great audience, good night." And walks off.
Yeah. It's a very good story, isn't it?
He went
that,
up
really?
in my estimation when I heard that.
Talking of Suede, which of course we weren't, but we are now, we've actually got a brand new Suede single to show you. The Gangly Whiners from Haywards Heath are back. They've got a brand new single out. It's their second single from the Head Music album. It's called She's in Fashion, which patently they aren't at the moment. And here it is.
She's employed where the sun don't touch. And she's the shape of a cigarette. And she's the shake of a tambourine. And she's the color of a magazine. She's in
Suede there, who will be playing V99 in the summer with She's in Fashion, their brand new single. Okay, so,
Yeah.
Vinnie,
Yeah,
Tell
I
us
was just saying then, I remember his voice annoying me about 3 years ago, and it's back, you know, and it's still annoying me.
well, Tim, though, I mean, you mentioned that you quite liked a bit of Suede. I mean,
Yeah, I don't mind them. Yeah, I don't think they're horrible. His voice is a bit horrible, and it has improved, I think, a little bit. I'm always amazed that with every album, I think he must sort of go, God, I mustn't put on that affected voice anymore. Next album, I'm going to sing with my real voice, and then the next album comes out, he sounds exactly the same. But it has sort of vaguely kind of, now it does sound a bit more like him, I imagine, how he sounds.
Okay, folks, well, now it's time to move on to what I like to call the crunch, the decider. I can tell you at this stage, actually, that Tim, you're still ahead, but Vinnie, you've got everything to play for. You're just a point behind, quite frankly. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of spit out as many questions as I can in 45 seconds, and what you're going to do is try and answer them correctly. Okay, your 45 seconds starts now, Vinnie. What was the name of Oasis's first single, released in 1994?
No idea.
Okay, Supersonic. Name the former Germs guitarist that joined Nirvana following the release of their last studio album, In Utero.
No idea.
A guy called Pat Smear, very smiley bloke. Which band beat Metallica to a Grammy Award in 1989 in the category for Best Heavy Metal Performance? I'll give you a clue. Their singer stands on one leg and plays the flute.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't be Jethro Tull then, would it?
It would be Jethro Tull, correct. Yes, well done. Okay. Which 80s Liverpool band released an album called Ocean Rain in 1984? Tiny bit before your time, but I'll give you a clue. Ian McCulloch's their singer.
Echo and the Bunnymen, yeah.
Correct, yep, well played. All right. True Colours and Girls Just Want to... That strange ray gun noise denotes that the 45 seconds are in fact up.
All right,
but
yeah.
I've started the question, so I'm going to finish. The True Colours and Girls Just Want to Have Fun were massive hits for which US female artist?
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper, yes, correct. Well played. There you go. So, an uneven round for you there, Vinny. You started off rather badly, but you made up a bit of lost ground. So, at the moment, you're actually just slightly in the lead. So, Tim, your 45 seconds start now. Bruce Foxton, Rick Buckler and Paul Weller were members of which British mod group?
The Jam.
Correct. Who did Spice Girl Mel B collaborate with on the single I Want You Back, which reached #1 earlier this year?
Eric B.
Eric B? No, it wasn't. It was Missy Elliott, but it could have been Eric B, couldn't it? And Rakim, of course. But Run DMC collaborated with which US hard rock band on the 1986 single Walk This Way? Aerosmith, correct. Which band opened Live Aid at Wembley Stadium on the 13th of July 1985?
Wasn't Status Quo, was it?
It was Status Quo. For a bonus point, can you tell me the name of the track they played?
Probably rocking all over the world.
It had to be, The Quo. Right. Fear of a Black Planet, Yo Bum Rush the Show. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Stop it with the ray gun, will ya? Go shoot someone else. Right, Fear of a Black Planet, Yo Bum Rush the Show, and It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back are albums by which US hip-hop band?
Public Enemy.
They are. Well played, yes. It's a sterling round from you there, Tim. Tim has had an absolute total result, in fact, and you are tonight's winner, I have to say. So you win the 8 cans of incredibly cheap lager here. It's 39p from my local off licence. But of course, Vinny, there are no losers on this show. Ooh. You are the recipient of the Popped In Crashed Out Kebab of the Week, which is magnificent. There you go. Okay. So enjoy that.
Thanks very much.
Yeah. All that remains for me to do is to thank our 2 guests this evening. Vinnie Cavanagh from Anathema, who's kebab-handed. And the lager-handed Tim Briffa from My Drug Hell. We'd like to reward you for your patience with a brand new release. This is by Big Rude Jake. This is Queer for Cat, a rather bizarrely, curiously titled number. Anyway, we're off to crash out. Thanks a lot for popping in. We'll see you same time next week. Cheers. See you later.
I stayed up late last Saturday night and I finally made it home about 3. And oh my Lord, when I got to the door, well, what did you think I'd see? With her hair up fine and a scoop neckline and a red dress busting at the seams. With the music slow and the lights down low, I saw my girl with the girl of my dreams. Yeah, my gal is Queer for Cat, she's Queer for Cat. And that's a fact, she likes them tall, it's slim and stacked. She said she likes it that, I like it that, she likes it like that. She says, let's go swing and let's paint the town, you and me. Kitty makes great, ain't no doubt about it, we sure get around. And that's a fact. She likes them tall and slim and thick. And she likes it that, I like it that, she likes it like that. Well, in a days of old, or so I'm told, them Greeks and them crazy old Romans will want to employ some...
He's all action. Fantastic to watch.